So Parmesan, rosemary. It's rosemary. Oh, got the rosemary. Okay, that's low count. Butter. Mara! Hey! How are you? Oh, good. Nice to see you. You doing all right? Good. Are you ready? Okay. If we could round everyone. You got it on. So I need to speak. Okay. If I could round everyone up, we're going to get started. Use my teacher voice. So this is not a microphone. Yes, ma'am. All right. Well, welcome everyone. I'll try. Welcome everyone. Hi. Greetings. Oh, come on in. My name is Amy Greer. I serve as the Vice President for Institutional Advancement at Mountain Empire Community College, and I want to welcome you today to this wonderful program. It's supported by the Mountain Empire Community College Foundation, and we're very fortunate to have folks in our region that have supported cultural and humanities events for years and years at this college. It's kind of what we're known for, and I think we're pretty good at it. And today's presentation is an example of that. I'm going to introduce our Slimp Gallery coordinator, Teresa Robinette. She does a fantastic job and always has really wonderful programming here. And so I can't thank you enough for coming out on a Friday afternoon, and thank you for your support. Without further ado, I'll introduce Teresa.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Meg Wilson and library staff that do all the hard work here and make this stuff work right. And mostly thank you, Suzanne, for coming here today on Friday the 13th. Knock on wood, everything, and I have on the right jewelry, so we're all safe now. I just want to say a couple words, and then I'll let her get to it. I've been a fan of Suzanne's work for a long time now and tried to follow it. And when I took a look at the turtle thing that was happening, it just I just had to have it and had to have it to share it. And it's not always an easy task to get artists to come this direction. Because Suzanne is somebody, I like to say she's a big dog in the art world. And she has a studio at William King, and she has multiple awards, and she has a wonderful book over there, which I hope you visit with her about that, award-winning book. And she also has plans for this to be the second book. So I feel really privileged that we can experience this this book and these pieces. And I hope that after she talks, you'll have some questions for her. I know I have some artists here, some photographers here. I know I have people who are just fans, but if you have questions about getting into this and how she came on the path that she was on, please go after her on that, because that's information that we all need sometimes, a refresher course on our path. And again, I give you Suzanne Stryk.
thank you all for coming out today. It's been quite a wonderful experience exhibiting here. When Teresa contacted me and showed so much interest, I thought, whew, I've got to get out here. And I've enjoyed the campus so much. So my latest, I have two series that I'm working on actually. The painting series you see out in the hall, which is called Coming Up for Air, and then another series called Natural Domain, which is like Notes on the State of Virginia, if anybody knows my work, and it has assemblages on maps. So, and that's all about Southwest Virginia and Northeast Tennessee. So I've been exploring this region even more, and I want to know even more about it. And all I find out is that the more I know, the less I know, if you know what I mean. So the turtle the images, I'm so glad I'm doing this when they're right there for you to see, because they're all part plant, part acrylic on wood. And so as I go along, I don't have to explain that too much. But I want to say one thing about writing artist statements, and I thought I might have a few artists or art students here. And when I write an artist statement, I usually write it as a narrative. Is somebody saying something? Okay. Can you all hear me? I write it as a narrative, like a little story. I try never to put theoretical terms or anything abstract. I want to start with something that's very visceral. And I write, you'll see it's posted, I'm standing on the boardwalk of Sugar Hollow Wetland, watching a dark shape swirl below the water. Soon a snapping turtle's little nostrils and bulging dim eyes break the surface, emerging from the prehistoric into the present. Nearby, a slider turtle basks on a log jutting from the water, its yellow striped head and paddle-like back feet outstretched like a blissful sun worshiper. These sightings are the core of anything I do, of all. Every time you see it, even if it seems like a really universal kind of painting, there's a core, there's a foundation out in the natural world. But then I go on to say something that I feel is important. I never am just showing this is what a turtle looks like in its habitat. Everything is related to my human experience of the natural world and of just life, right? So I go on to say, yet these turtle images also tap into our own life experiences. What do we mean when we say we come up for air? What do we mean when we say we bask in something? You know, and I just looked at my turtle this morning before leaving. I had to get a little yellow-bellied slider. She started out this little, and now after 2.5 years, she's this big. And I hear she's going to be big as a dinner plate. So I didn't know what I was getting into. I don't recommend getting a turtle unless you have a pond. But anyway, I noticed that she had gotten up on her basking ramp, and that she really likes to leave one foot dangling in the water. And I thought, oh God, I immediately thought of the metaphor of always kind of not wanting to leave where you're comfortable and she's going up, but she wants to keep her foot in that water. Well, Thoreau said that animals have to carry the burden of our metaphors, but and some people might feel it's anthropomorphic. I don't think it's anthropomorphic because I'm very clearly separating her and her turtleness with my interpretation. And I think that that's a natural thing for humans to do. And in this one, I'm not only relating to my own experience of life, but I'm relating to a folkloric idea of the monogamy, which is a Japanese turtle that grows algae from its shell. And it's a symbol of longevity and wisdom. In this one, I put a mayfly on top of it. Why a mayfly? Well, if the turtle's a symbol of longevity, the mayfly is a symbol of transience. It lives a day. So I love that combination. And so that combination meant something to my human experience of life. And then I end with the statement, but what about all the drips of paint and scrappy leaves combined with moments of meticulous detail? They're also what the paintings are about. When you paint, ask anybody who paints or does any kind of artwork, you can turn it upside down and be working on it. You're completely forgetting about the theme because you're just thinking about how that drip goes in and how that detail works. In fact, I put this in here. This is a detail of one of the pieces where I love to have certain very kind of amorphous layered parts and then some little section, like you can see the head down there and the foot, really detailed. To me, in my life, is always a balance between the accidental and the measured, back and forth. And I think we all kind of live in that zone. So turtles in art affect me. I mean, I don't just collect images in a file folder. I actually have a file cabinet with folders, but also on the computer of any turtle image that I go, oh, I love that, or that gives me an idea. Not just art historical images, but specific ones. So these are just a few of the ones that I have kept and refer to. And I'm saying that again for people in the arts, because I think we share that wish to keep images that stimulate us. We're not copying them, but look at this. This is the monogamy. This is the one that I did. I saw this at the Indianapolis Museum of Art, and I thought, what is that? I'd never seen it until like 10 years ago. And I saw this painting, and I thought, that's so fascinating to think of an animal being symbolic, but also being what it is, okay? So I'm very, very, very interested in how turtles have been represented in art ages. But why turtles? Oh, there's mine. I just wanted to give you again, and there's the mayfly. So why turtles? And that's my yellow-bellied slider. Had to get her in there somewhere. For obvious reasons, she's a yellow-bellied slider. So why turtles? First of all, I have painted turtles for decades, here and there. In this series, I'll do one, and I'll show you some of those. But as I've been writing this book called Coming Up for Air, which is an unusual approach to a book because it's like a hybrid art and not creative nonfiction book. It's not a graphic novel, but it's kind of close to that. And I'm taking a page from this, which I'm going to read a page from that book. I did sample layouts because I think it will really give you a sense of how far back I go with turtles. And so this is what I say. Some days, the turtle's face conjures me to a time when my hands were small, my mind open. In the late 50s, my friend Cindy and I would walk uptown to Kresge's Five and Dime with coins jingling in our little purses. We'd meander down the aisle to the pet section and each select a baby turtle. A lady in a pink smock would struggle to nab the one we pointed to in the pile of little reptiles, which she'd then place in a paper box with a metal handle like a Chinese restaurant carry-out container. Poor little creatures. We didn't know how to care for them. I'm embarrassed to confess that we fed them only dry flakes of boxed turtle food and raw hamburger. Plastic bowls with a center island sprouting one Kelly green plastic palm tree served as a pitiful habitat for the hatchlings. Their shells got soft. We didn't know their need for UVB rays. They'd die or sometimes escape when we played with them outside. We didn't know how to love them, but we did love them. As I said, some days when I watch Pob, that's my turtle's name, I feel like I'm looking through my eyes as a child. I'm doing better. I'm doing a better job of loving her. So I continue my interest in turtles by doing sketchbook drawings, even when I'm not using a turtle for a painting. And I have some of my sketchbooks in these two cabinets here. And so these are just random sketchbooks. Those were sliders. This is a box turtle. The one on the left in pencil was this was the most incredible experience. I walk in this one area over and over. I take the same walk as it's never the same walk. And I sat down and I looked around and I thought, what is that in the grass or in the leaves? And a turtle's head starts to come up with its eyes like shut closed, really, I mean, really tight shut eyes. And it pulls itself out and it starts to crawl out, and I was watching it coming out of hibernation. And it was like the most magical moment I can't even express. And turtles basking. And as you notice, I use different kinds of materials for sketchbooks, from pencil to acrylic. The box turtle is acrylic, and to watercolor. And so past turtle paintings. In the 90s, I did a series of gouache paintings, and they were very mythological. You see this back to the source. It has a sense of a pond, but also a sense of pondness and age and maybe a memory. And this actually is based on a fossil turtle. Here's another one that was a part of a series I did called Small Lives of the Southern Highlands for the Blue Spiral Gallery, and it's a bog turtle. And then I did some sketches of turtles at the Gray Fossil Site in Gray, Tennessee, where they're just unearthing fossils from 5 million years ago. And this is a turtle from the Miocene, which I based the white bone turtle in the gallery on this one. It has different kinds of very, very sharp scutes, and I thought it was really fascinating shape. And then this one is based on a turtle that's in a collection in London at the Grant Museum of Natural History. And I love to go to natural history museums and draw and paint from their specimens. And this one, yes, it actually had a little window cut into it, which, again, I think of it as a metaphor for science in a lot of ways. Like, how do we really look into an animal? How do we really understand it? I think I love science, and I think it reveals so many interesting and important things to us, but it never tells us how an animal actually experiences the world. And so many of my paintings, and I'm going to go into that now, show that mystery of our looking at and understanding an animal, in this case turtles, and what the turtle really is. So this is my series, the current series. Now, I just want to give you a little background how I start a painting. The plants have to be adhered right away first. They're pressed, and when they're dry, I put acrylic soft gel medium on the back of them and squeeze them into the board, and they have to completely dry before I put any paint over it. So that's how it would start, any of these. There might be some occasion where I'd say, oh, I need a leaf over here and put something over, but most of them have to be done right away. And that's a goat's beard. That's not an enormous dandelion. It's a goat's beard flower, and I love goat's beard, and it's the hardest thing to glue onto a panel in the world. I don't know if I'd ever do it again because it's just fluff, And there's the painting. And this one started out. This one is in the show, but so I had all the leaves in this particular arrangement. I often take pictures of things as I'm doing them for a number of reasons. Show myself what I did. And I'm doing assemblages now. And when you do an assemblage, you have it all layered. You have to, when you've got it right, you have to take it apart in order to start adhering the bottom layers and going up. So it's really easy to forget where you had things. Oh, you had it in the left-hand corner, but did you remember you had it at an angle? So, that kind of thing. So I take pictures constantly. And with this one, I took a picture and then I did it and took a picture in a different way. I honestly don't remember, but I must not have been happy with something about it. And this is how it ended up. So you can barely see that big turtle in the back, and the head's in the back on the right, top right. But I actually, when I was putting this together, I wish I had done more process photos. And when I looked at this one, I thought, why didn't I like that? I like that. I do that a lot, too much. So you see the plants are on the right. They're actually water reeds from Saltville well fields, if anybody's ever been there. Bird watching or turtle watching. And the images on the left, other than the turtle, are enlarged microorganisms, which I just love. I mean, I'm in my bliss when I'm looking through a microscope, looking at all these little things from a pond swimming around. I taught a workshop called Think Small once, and that's what we did. We went out to a pond. We got pond water, and then I had these little microscopes that attached to the laptop. And this is a group of college age students, and they know everything, and they're like, oh God, look at that, look at that. No, it just it just went that way. And they asked me what it all was. I said, well, I'm not a biologist. I just think it's really fascinating. And they were so cool with that. They were, oh, I said, you can have an incredible sense of wonder without having to name everything. Now, there is also, in fact, I have a meditation on this in my book, The Middle of Somewhere, about naming. There's naming that takes away wonder. It's like, oh, that's a yellow-bellied sapsucker. I know it. And then you walk by, you don't think about it. Whereas if you don't know its name, you might stand and wonder. But there's also the problem, if you don't know its name, you don't connect with it and repeat and go look up things about it, maybe repeat for me the image. So I have a love-hate relationship with naming in the natural world. This one, basically the turtle is kind of unseen. I just love that beautiful maidenhair fern up there, and I painted it white, and it started to become really the subject of the painting. And you have that sense that I was talking about before of the mystery of the turtle's life is really what I'm talking about. The way animals have a genius for living that is not our kind of genius. It's their genius of knowing how to do everything to be a box turtle, to hibernate on time, to know what to eat, all those things. And there he is. He, being the red eye, means it's a he. And there's the turtle from the Miocene that I who has pond life inside of him, or her, I don't know. But I love those scoot shapes. And this one is really about painting and painting around the turtle. Everything was black, and then I dripped around it, and then painting the negative shapes brought the turtle forward. So I didn't paint the turtle. The turtle shape came out by painting around it. It's like that kind of thing, I guess. But it's also about seeing. Sometimes when we see things, we see around it first, and then the external starts to define something. And oh yeah, look at that. This one is really about ancient turtleness. And again, that kind of otherness that turtles have. Try not to make it in any way look cute or pet-like. I mean, my husband and I, who's here, my husband Dan right there, we laugh at our turtle all the time, but we're not really laughing at her. We're amused by her antics, but seriously, we respect her turtleness and the things that she seems to know. She, in November, when it started, the days are getting shorter. The temperature isn't different, but the days are getting shorter, and she starts to change, and she starts to not want to eat as much. And she would brumate, which is the reptilian form of hibernating, but she can't because we don't offer her a, you know, a mud bank to dig into, and if we did, she might die because all those things are so intricate in terms of their depth and where they get into, and I couldn't do it. And here's one everybody said, well, why did you put the one without a turtle in it? It's probably people would say, where's the turtle? Thank you. And now I'd like to answer some questions.
Yeah, it's very interesting. My initial question before you started was, how do you paint the turtles? Do you use pictures or whatever, photographs? So I've narrowed it down. Do you use your turtle as a model?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I use. In fact, that's one reason why I got her. I was kind of hoping I'd find a rehab or something like that for a year or so, and nothing turned up. So I did buy a baby turtle, and she's just been a source of my art.
And as you've watched it grow,
Yeah,
painted it at the different
oh yeah,
stages,
oh yeah,
that's cool.
yeah, absolutely. And there's some of my sketches in these sketchbooks that are on display of turtles I found in the wild, box turtles all the time. And they're great models. They stay put while you're drawing.
Well, that,
Sliders are another story because, I did that one with the sliders on log, but if I wanted to do details, I would take a picture. And what I generally do if I'm doing any kind of animals, I'll put my sketchbook, I'll put the actual animal. If I used to do a lot of insects, so put the insect there in a tank or something, and then put a picture and kind of combine them. I know where I wanted it and then combine it. So yeah, I bring it all together.
right, thanks.
Are you moving into your next project now with these sort of paint? Or do you have something that you're?
Well, right now I'm trying to completely finish this natural domain series, and I've got about 4 left to go, and a lot of completion of ones that are close. But again, I mean, I sewed them onto the maps, I glued them, I have to raise them up. It takes so long. I'm so glad I have a bad memory because I never would want to do it again. How did I get it? This is actually a commission, and the Natural Domain series about Southwest Virginia and Northeast Tennessee is the region William King serves, and it will be in the new World Collection of Animal Art in their foyer. So when you walk in, you'll see animals that exist around here. The World Collection of Animal Art is the Worlds owned the Bristol Herald Courier and other papers, and they collected animal art from all over the world. And somebody in Abingdon, I have to give her credit, said, "Hey, we need animals from around here. We don't just need lions and pelicans and things. We want," and I said, "I'll do it," And I've got elk, bear. I've got a turtle, a couple turtles, elk, bear, green salamander, hellbender, you name it. But mostly indigenous, but then some animals are not only here, but creatures that I've seen here, a bear, um, and everyone is different. But I mark on the place in the map where it was. I have one. There's one that doesn't have an animal in it. It's like this. It's like the red-winged blackbird. Will anybody notice? I'm really intrigued by the wildcrafting tradition in Appalachia. And so I got together with Carrie Sparks, who's a wildcrafter from Marion, and we went out, and I like to say we walked for 2 hours, 20 feet. Because she's, oh, look at this. Oh, you know what you can use this for. And then we walk over. Oh, Willow, look at this. And so I don't have it. I should have brought some. But it's a head of a woman suggesting a traditional woman. Because I looked up and the wildcrafting was done by men and women, but many, many women did it. And one of the reasons why is because they were midwives. And so I put all these plants in her head. And kind of like what I did for Jefferson, it's in the book. I put Thomas Jefferson, I put his favorite vegetables in his head, in his silhouette, I should say. So I'm finishing that, and then doing this has really made me want to go back and do some more turtles. So and finish by coming up for Air Turtle Book. And
maybe someday we'll get more turtles.
Yeah, it's a slow process.
Speaking of process, talk more about yours when you know there's a plan and then there's a magical business of doing, and when to know when you're finished.
Yeah, you saw that one that I think, what did I not like about that? There's two ways to finish. One is you really can't think of anything else to do with and it's true. You think, all I can do now is ruin it, and I'm the best at that. Although you can't be afraid of ruining it. It's kind of interesting because if it's too good at the beginning, you can't experiment with pouring something over it or scraping. Whereas if it's just developing, you feel more free to do that kind of thing. And the other way to know that you're finished is in the morning. I come down to my studio and I look at it, and it clicks. It's like, yes, it's there. It works, and it can't be while I've been working at it a lot because I've seen little spots that were giving me trouble. It has to be, in fact, it's kind of good to do it. To come down, look at something, come down or come over, go up, after a week, and it's right.
I mentioned to you before we got started that a lot of our students have commented, "Oh wow, that's really cool. Oh look, there's a turtle." A lot about your work, and it's brought students to notice. And
Wonderful, thank you.
do you think, I guess maybe not children, but young adults today are less connected to the natural world and even to turtles, to notice that within their own environment?
To notice them or to notice artwork about them? To notice
The
turtle.
natural world, period, because we're so digitally focused now.
Yeah.
Do you worry about that?
Yeah.
It's part of your mission
Yeah.
and your work to bring the two together and maybe educate.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is very worrisome to think of the screen generation and not being able to go out and get their feet wet and see things and have a bug bite or so just natural things that happen when you're outside. And yet my own grandsons go out with me. I have no problem. And I do know a few children who still love to go outside, and I work with the Blue Ridge Discovery Center up near Whitetop Mountain and find a lot of young people and all the counselors, and they're just out there just getting excited about a snail or a lightning bug. They don't have to see something, dramatic. Well, it's pretty dramatic because you go out there and like you can see synchronous fireflies all blinking at the same time or something, or salamanders under a log that nobody's ever seen before. I mean, it's really exciting. Yeah, and the salamander looks up at you and think, our eyes are meeting, and you may never see a human. I mean, I won't see you again. It's, go on with your life. Godspeed, little creature. And there are so many up there like that I meet so many young people. It might be deceptive because they're interested in nature, but generally, yeah, it's a problem. Yeah, and I don't know what's going to happen with it. Although there could be a movement back, like I've heard there's whole groups of young people who are saying, turn off your screen and go out, and we're going to do this as a group, and it's good. Question back there? Question? Yeah.
I apologize if you went over this. I came in a few minutes late. There's two questions. One, do you like land turtles better than sea turtles? And two, do you have a preference? And two, what do you see, I guess, camouflage-wise, or the difference in their shells and how they
between freshwater turtles and
yes.
saltwater turtles. I don't really have that much experience with saltwater turtles, like that one poor little turtle with the hole in his shell. I've never seen one come up on the beach to lay eggs, or I've only seen them in zoos. I've never seen one, so I don't have a personal response. I actually thought, because there's a research center for some kind of sea turtle where they protect their egg-laying places, and they asked for volunteers, and I thought, how would they like a volunteer who just wanted to come up and paint? Probably not, but then I go out at night and see them coming in, and maybe see the hatchlings going out to sea. When I've seen it a lot on nature shows, I feel like I've seen it, but I know I haven't. So I can't say I like them better, but I certainly have more interaction with freshwater turtles and box turtles, which are actually not tortoises. They're actually a kind of turtle that's adapted to the land, so I'm told. But they do go in the water sometimes to cool off, but they certainly don't live in the water like a snapping turtle does. But I honestly don't have a favorite other than my little one at home. But I don't have a favorite, but I could love sea turtles if I experienced them. Yeah.
This is not a question, but I very much appreciated your vignette about in the 50s walking up to the 5 and dime.
Yeah.
Because I did that.
Did you?
Yes, and it just brought back, the way you described it, just brought back those hot, sunny days in South Carolina where we trekked that mile up to the little shopping center.
Yeah, the little shopping center. Yeah. Yeah. And
Again, how big a snapping turtle have you ever seen?
how big a snapping turtle? Well, I have seen a alligator snapping turtle. It's about that big.
Oh,
Yeah. And but the snapping turtles in Sugar Hollow, for instance, they're pretty big. Yeah, I assume you've seen pretty big ones.
yeah, Hungry Mother Park when I was about 6 years of age. There was like 8 families went out, and we had kids, and we were several fishermen, and one of the ladies actually caught a snapping turtle bigger than the one you just did, and we all the men all screamed and we all ran. 3 or 4 bourbons later, the fathers went back and picked up all the deer because he was huge. And he came
Yeah.
from the bank like this, and
Yeah.
he easily could have eaten a child.
Yeah. Yeah, they can get really big. I never had any real interaction with them. I've never had to pull them off a road or something like that. Although I've heard you use the tail, you might drag them. Or I saw a good one the other day. I mean, I take turtles off the road all the time, but I never found a snapping turtle in the road. And you put one of your car mats down and push them on the car mat and then drag it up because you certainly don't want to just pick it up because they can take the finger off. But I've seen lots of box turtles on the road that you take to the way the direction they're going to, and hopefully it does some good because that's another threat to them. Screen time and roads. Did I see another?
When did you get started as an artist?
How? Well, the distinction between being like an artist who really develops the skill and the worldview and that type of thing, probably not until my 30s, and I'm 70 now, 71. But I painted and drew in high school in my 20s. But just painting and drawing doesn't necessarily make you an artist. I didn't really have a mode of working, and I didn't have a worldview that was defined. In fact, when I went to college, everybody was doing abstract expressionism, and I wanted to do detail, and it was like, oh, be free, but don't do that. You know. So it was a discouraging time for me. I actually got a degree in art history, which was a good choice. Now I see on hindsight, because the history of art from cave art to the present is part of my being, and I love going to museums and seeing art. And it constantly informs my work. And in fact, what it told me after studying the Northern Renaissance artists and Persian miniatures and certain kinds of Etruscan frescoes is that I could incorporate art from the past and make something new. And there was nothing wrong with detail. And some of the things like bubbles, bubbles are a symbol in art history for transience. And so you'll see these things coming up in my work, and I think, oh, do people know that? It doesn't matter if they know it or not, or they just feel it, or it's just a beautiful shape. It's also a way of creating something kind of light in a certain place in the canvas. Everything is part the theme and part just making the painting work, But the bubbles in the one that, which did I not put it? I thought I put a slide of it. Did? Oh, it's at the beginning. This one. The bubbles in that one actually they create a spatial layering between the bubble layer, the turtle layer, and then the back layer. So bubbles are a great visual tool for doing all sorts of things in art. And they come from my experience of looking at Northern Renaissance art and Chardin. He has a painting of a little boy blowing a bubble, which I've always just adored. And then reading that it was very much about the transience of human life. So, all those things are working together. And I'd be happy to answer more questions in the gallery in front of paintings if you want. Yeah?
I have one. Some of the pieces that you have, I wanted to know if you
use prints for it, or if that was just your raw skill from references on the texture of the turtle?
If I did what?
Use a turtle shell as a print.
Oh, as a print. No, I painted it.
Like,
So like some of the shells that have like little grooves. So what you do is you use a lot of soft gel and a very coarse brush, and you let it dry in certain ways. And then you rub paint into it and wipe it off, and then you see those little grooves. So it looks more textured than just trying to paint it all, directly. It's a texture making process. I also use modeling paste, which is a really thick thing. I can't remember if I've used it in any of this, but it's like almost like sculptural. It's like spackle made for artists, if you think of it that way. Okay.
All right. Well, please, everyone. That was so wonderful, but I don't think I'm going to get a turtle. I don't think I have to do it, but my husband would have a turtle in the house in a minute.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you all please enjoy refreshments, and I think you've got some prints available as well. And as always, we so appreciate you coming to Mountain Empire and enjoying our program. So, y'all have a wonderful weekend, and thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.